Hello, my name is Marleigh Jones, and today we're going to be going over educational backgrounds and how um, they are a testimony to who we are now. So, for my presentation, I wanted to gain and give a diverse knowledge of different backgrounds. The information that we will be looking into today comes from three of the most important people in my life and how they became the most incredible people that they are today. Education is something that each of them really grew to love in their own unique ways. From Iran to Germany to Italy, each one of these people has such a unique and wholesome perspective as to why learning is so key to success. So we're going to start with Michelle Bapor. Michelle is 72 years of age. She has grown up, or she grew up, um, being in a military family. She was a army brat. Her mom was an English war bride. Her father was in the U.S. Army for 26 years, so that meant that she really traveled a lot. He was stationed in England, France, and Germany for almost 12 years, and she moved around a lot. It was almost every 2.5 to 3 years. She was going back and forth between Europe and the United States. So she had a very, very diverse perspective on how education was so different in each place. But yeah, she is married and has two kids. Her daughter is a teacher through LASD, and her son is a civil engineer. And she actually worked for Child Protective Services for 20 years before retiring. And she was a investigator and then a supervisor and finally a program developer for all the children in the 11 counties surrounding Lubbock and Lubbock County. So we are very grateful for Michelle. And then the next person I got to interview was actually Ali Bapor, which is her husband. He's 74 years of age and came to the United States in 1974. He's from Iran. Um, he I loved getting to hear his perspective on how he was taught in Iran because it's so interesting compared to the United States. He earned his mechanical engineering degree by attending universities in Austin and Lubbock at Texas Tech, and he graduated from Tech in 1978. He married Michelle in 1979 and adopted her two kids. Um, and yeah, so I was very excited to interview Ali. And then the last person I got to interview was Jason Jones. He's a 52-year-old father of two Texas Tech students, husband to one superstar pre-K teacher, and after high school, Jason joined the United States Air Force as an aircraft electrical and an environmental system specialist, and was stationed in Clovis, New Mexico, as well as RAF Laken Heath in the United Kingdom. He served 4 years and was honorably discharged before moving to Lubbock, Texas in 1998. He began his 8-year education journey in 2012 and graduated with a degree from Texas Tech in business management. The reason he told me that it took so long for him to get his degree was because he was raising a family and going to work. So it did take him a little bit longer, but he told me that he was so grateful for the opportunity to actually do it. He has worked for 3 different companies in his work experience, and he currently works as a burner and control technician, where he installs and services boilers that have a variety of purposes. So some of the things that I got to go over with them were cultural experiences shape identity in the worldview, discipline, hard work, and responsibility as core values, and education as a foundation for growth, opportunity, and identity. For cultural experiences shape identity and worldview, I wanted to focus on Ali. He described the strict academic culture of Iran and how his early experiences with disciplined schooling influenced his values when coming to the United States. He told me that every day, whenever he would come home from school, he had at least 5 hours of homework straight whenever he got home. They weren't allowed to watch the TV. They weren't allowed to go outside and play. After school, you were doing homework and you were going to bed and repeating that process again and again. And then for Michelle, in her perspective of Germany, she emphasized how living overseas allowed her to experience multiple cultures, and especially in Germany and England, that really broadened her understanding of the global differences. And she talked about Christmas and how Christmas was so spectacular in Germany and how they just are so traditional there. I thought it was really cool. And Jason reflected on how his experiences in the military connected with him and the people from different backgrounds and helped him understand the importance of community and structure. He told me that that was probably the best form of family and community that he's ever had in his life. And then for discipline, hard work, and responsibility as core values, Michelle talked about how her father's long military service and her own career dedication, eventually serving 20 years with Child Protective Services, really showed how influential and how discipline is so important and how hard work really pays off. Ali shared how his education in Iran centered on strict and steady routines, heavy workloads, and a strong emphasis on respect and behavior. How those expectations guided him once he immigrated to the United States to build a new life. He really emphasized in our interview when he said to me, he was like, we learned how to respect people and we learned how to treat people, and that's probably the biggest thing that I will take away from living in Iran. And so I was really grateful for his insight on that. And then Jason discussed how the military provided him with a sense of direction and taught him his essential skills that he needed to eventually succeed in the workforce in his future jobs. Um, he even told me that whenever he started really young in the military, and so he kind of felt a little lost, and so the military really helped him find himself, which I thought was very cool. And then for the last one, education as a foundation for growth. Kind of like we said earlier, learning in Germany and England exposed Michelle to her diverse histories and teaching styles, which she told me helped her connect with kids in child protective services. Even though they may not be from another country, she can still connect with them on the level of they might be lonely sometimes, they might need help sometimes with just trying to navigate life without having a solid foundation. And so she really told me that that's what helped her connect with those kids for so long. And then Ali told me that although challenging this structure that he was given taught him discipline and how to be strong. And whenever he moved to the United States, his educational journey continued. And as he learned, he earned his mechanical engineering degree and opened doors to his career and advancement in civility, and actually worked at Tech as a mechanical engineer for a very long time. I couldn't give you the years, but it was a very long time. And then for Jason, his experience shows us how education can be flexible, lifelong process that supports both career development and personal growth. He took 8 years to get his degree because, again, he was raising a family and was, working a job. And so that is one beautiful thing about education, is that it's so flexible, and that we can have the opportunity to do the things that we love while still earning our education degree. So some of my favorite quotes that were in our interview was, Michelle said to me, she said, being overseas and being exposed to different culture completely changed how I viewed the world. I never knew I could be so speechless from looking at cultural differences. I enjoyed school in Germany and getting to learn about the massive history. It's breathtaking. Ali says, everyone in my school was never allowed to watch TV. Every day I came home from school and I would do 5 to 6 hours of homework. In Iran, I wasn't allowed to get a job because I was only allowed to study. I was disciplined on how to treat people. When I came to the United States, I had nobody, but I knew how to treat people and respect them. And then Jason says, I would suggest that for some people, not all people, but some people, that don't have direction and can't seem to get their life straight, they should consider joining the military. It's a community and it's a family. It teaches you skills that most people don't have. It's a long time commitment, but it's worth it. And honestly, all of these quotes just kind of show how respectable and how dedicated these three are. And I was truly honored to get to interview them. So, for my persuasive opinion, educational backgrounds are not just memories from our past, they are powerful forces that shape who we become. Whether a person grows up in a strict academic system, moves between schools in different countries, or learns through experiences like the military training or community support, education guides the development of our values, skills, and identity. The stories shared by Michelle, Allie, and Jason prove that learning environments can completely transform a person's worldview, confidence, and opportunities. This is why we must recognize the importance of investing in positive educational experiences for every child. A strong educational foundation creates doors that many people don't even realize they needed. It builds discipline, empathy, curiosity, and resilience qualities that influence a lifetime. If we want a society filled with capable, thoughtful adults, then we must prioritize education not as a requirement, but as a life changing resource. In every testimony we heard today and everything that I've shared with you, education, formal or non formal, was the root of growth. And this is why education matters and why it deserves our commitment and attention. For my informative opinion, education plays a significant role in shaping personal development, and the interviews with Michelle, Allie, and Jason illustrate how different educational paths can influence identity and life outcomes. Michelle's international schooling gave her global awareness and encouraged her career in child development. Ali's rigorous schooling in Iran taught him discipline and respect for learning, which supported his transition into higher education in the United States. Jason's educational journey shows how learning continues into adulthood, and he used military training and later college coursework to build a stable career and skill set. Their experiences demonstrate that education is not a one size fits all process. It occurs in classrooms, families, workplace, and communities, and in each setting, it contributes to who a person becomes. Educational backgrounds provide international knowledge and how it shapes values and the influence future and how it influences future opportunities. Understanding these different paths helps us and me really appreciate how education continues to affect personal and professional growth throughout a lifetime. Thank you so much for the opportunity to, share about these amazing people. I actually loved doing this so much, and I loved getting to know these people a little bit better. And I just want to thank you for letting us do this. And I just thank you so much. And this was presented by Marleigh Jones.